Have you been searching for that next level upgrade? Ready to invest into something that is in it for the long haul? Well, look no further than the composited innovations provided by Prime. These customly crafted pieces are handmade by former Jason Johnson Racing car chief and Prime owner-operator Clyde Knipp. Prime Composite Innovations is located centrally in Missouri and is looking to provide that big-time performance at a fraction of that big-time price. For additional information, visit prime-composites.com today to see what they have to offer, as well as their stable of current full-time drivers that trust Prime with their ride. For the future of innovations, with the properly composited type, you can depend, move forward, and rely on Prime. The topic. This was a situation on a show called The Drivers Project. I'm sure, Joe, have you seen this?
I know there's a show called that, but I've never watched it, no.
Sam Hafertepe Jr. is on there somehow. I mean, I don't know how Hank...
Wait, I've seen, they had like Hickle, they had about 4 or 5 guys on there.
That's the one Selzy, the other Selzy, Dominic.
Yeah, I watched it once and I thought it was horrible. I turned it off after about 4 minutes.
Why did you do that? What was the reason?
It was the one Carson Macedo was on.
Oh.
And Dom and Hickle were there, and
that's the one where Carson was lying, basically, and apologizing.
It's just not a show where these people come from a world that's so different than mine that their view on things, I just don't really agree with what they're saying.
This is true. But you might like this one, because sometimes money can call out money. So we're about to play an audio clip where Sam Hafertepe Jr., in my opinion, calls out Brad Sweet and High Limit, and it has to do with Wicker. So if you haven't ever seen it, wait, you seen this?
Let's go.
Okay. Joe's going to listen. We got him muted real quick. Listen to this little clip about High Limit and the Wicker Bill rule that they have played with, instituted. The first voice you're going to hear is Sam Hafertepe Jr. I believe J.J. Hickle comments in this one. But this is actually really good stuff. Just a little segment here. And then listen, in my opinion, he's calling High Limit and Brad Sweet out. Maybe it's a short man, red-haired syndrome, but give this a listen. Listen to this right here.
I think based upon this, what I would think, and I don't like, for the life of me, I can't understand why they picked 1.5. Like we went to 1.
Right.
We went to 1. Then, we were at 2 before. And, that we went to 1 because the reason was, the 2 makes too much dirty air behind the wing and you can't race, good behind 2-inch Wicker Bill. You can ask JJ whether we were on a 1-inch or a 2-inch. The dirty air was still dog shit, whether it was behind a 1-inch or a 2-inch. It didn't really matter. Would you agree, JJ?
Yeah, it didn't change anything noticeably.
Yeah, so that was the first reason we all went to the 1-inch is because, we think the dirty air is going to, change things and blah, 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 so the racing would be better. Well, obviously the racing wasn't any better. So the only reason I could see that he would be this passionate is because I think he wants everybody to follow his path, to be like, like the Outlaws always used to be, okay, guys, we're going to this rule. Well, then Knoxville followed suit. Everybody followed suit. It all fell in line. Well, I think he just wants to be that guy that everybody falls in line to. Like, I think he wants the Outlaws to fall in line to him, and he wants, the Knoxville to fall in line to him. And I think that's really not the place they should be at right now. I truly think High Limit should have just fell in place with what the Outlaws were doing, what Knoxville was doing, and keep building their program. I think making these rules that they've made and allowing, let's say allowing the the deal to fill the tire back up.
Yeah.
Like, to allow that, to me, and okay, like, I'm not so, I don't really care too much about the adjustable shock. I think that's okay. It's not very spendy. But to make these changes that he's made and try to like enforce that on the Outlaws to follow suit and get, Knoxville to follow suit, I don't think they're at the stature right now to be able to do that.
So that is the little clip there, Joe. What do you think? I think it's. I think he kind of he hit on a point there. I paused it already there, Joe. I think he hit. I think he hit a really good point there. He's basically. Oh, I don't know what's going on over there, Joe. Might have to turn it down in the background, but he's basically saying to me, High Limit didn't need to make all these rules, and they're trying to act like they kind of dictate the racing scene, like the Outlaws used to, or did until High Limit came along. Do you kind of see that angle there, or no?
Boy, that's interesting. So the questions are, why did they make these? There's basically 3 rule changes: the Wicker bill, the adjustable shocks, and the pumps and the bleeders.
Correct. And Hafertepe, his angle, it seems like, is saying, especially with the Wicker bill, he's saying the shit don't matter. This Wicker bill ain't necessarily affecting the racing as much as Brent Marks wants to cry about it. Technically, that's the only guy we've seen mention maybe something along those lines was Brent Marks's post about Wicker bills and all these rules changes. But it sounded like he's coming across as saying Brad Sweet and High Limit's only doing this to try to act in a way like this leader of the industry, and everyone else should just kind of follow in their line. Kind of like, and he's right in saying this, the Outlaws would make a rule change and everyone else would fall in line. And I think High Limit was sort of overstepping because they're not that far along yet, but they were trying to take this big leap into making rule changes in hopes that everyone else would follow in suit. Does that make sense?
What was the rule? Was the rule this year 1 inch for Outlaws and High Limit? I
believe so, yes. Prior to that, it was a maximum 2, I believe.
Yeah, I remember the 2. I'm more concerned about why the adjustable shock. Who pulled that out? What was the point of this?
Well, he didn't necessarily see an issue with that. It is a very relatively low.
Yeah, but still, why do it at all? Why?
They're kind of. I mean, it is. Well, sprint car USAC. I mean, non-wing midgets, all that. They've been using adjustable shocks for years. I was kind of not shocked, but I guess kind of. Wow, wing racing ain't already doing that, because I mean, I've seen it in non-wing racing so much already.
I know, you're adding a cost. I know it's not a big cost, but you're adding a cost. And to me, do you see the coincidence that he drives for Casey Kane and they sell Kane shocks, and it's another part that the shock business will sell people?
Yeah, I mean, do you think it was random that the day that High Limit announced this inflatable system with the tires, that Jeff Swindell was on Facebook posting the newest product that's ready and available? I mean,
well, no, I think that is a good safety feature, because
that's what some people are saying. Apparently, Chase Johnson's incident was being blamed on that.
Well, me and Justin talked about the Chase Johnson situation, that when you have maybe over 10 laps of green, and then you have a long red, you could easily lose pound and a half of air.
And that's what happened there, I believe, right? Was it a red, or was it the fuel?
Yes, because it was the Tanner Thorson crashing into the front stretch wall.
Correct.
And a long delay, and then Chase went in on the cushion. And I think that's a safety feature. McCarl talked about it. They didn't mention it as a safety feature. I think it's a good thing for a driver to have consistency in the air pressure after a red.
You got me on speakerphone over there. There's a lot of feedback right now. Something changed. What's going on?
Okay, I'll get off the speaker. Does it sound better?
Yeah, that's better. It was anytime I was making any noise, it was like flickering or overloading the back feed there.
Over modulating.
It was
I
modulating.
don't
That's
know.
the word.
The rule changes. Why would anybody run it? Could a driver even feel the difference between a 1 inch and a half inch on the Wicker bill? You're telling me they can feel that?
Well, and I think that's his point. Above what's good or what isn't, that High Limit was just trying to make a change here that they, in their eyes, they could kind of set the tone as we're one of these big daddy leagues that if we change something, everybody else should kind of follow our suit. You know, I think that was what he was trying to say there.
I think the important overall thing about it is Sam Hafertepe was leery about what High Limit is doing.
Yeah.
That the overview is bigger than the particulars of what he's saying. He's thinking there's motives other than helping the racing behind what High Limit are doing.
That's smart though, Joe. That's smart. I'm impressed by Sam here. I'm not always impressed with his ability on the racetrack or wrecking cars and destroying, poor old Hank Davis. But in this instance, I was like, wow, Sam Hafertepe might be smart enough to figure some shit out.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying as well? You're impressed by that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That he's what's the word? He's
questioning.
Yeah, he's questioning. He's a little leery of the motives behind what they're doing with High Limit.
Right. And it makes sense. How he proposed it makes perfect sense.